Hello and welcome. I'm Omar, and I'm really glad you're here with me today. Maybe you're listening while you're walking, relaxing on your couch, or maybe you're on your way somewhere and you just needed to hit pause. However you arrived, I have something I want to share. A way of seeing the world that's made me notice things I always used to miss. You see, we're living in this nonstop rush. Messages, appointments, errands, and always another thing you have to get to. Most days I catch myself on autopilot, scrolling through feeds, eating lunch while also checking news or emails, going from one task to another without even enjoying the parts in the middle. And here's the thing. Sometimes I finish the day and I can barely remember what actually happened. What changed everything for me was learning about the practice of just slowing down. Really just taking things more slowly. It sounds too simple, I know. But once I started noticing the small details, like how a warm mug feels in your hand on a chilly morning, or the sound of birds early before the city wakes up, life started to feel different. Let me give you a story. There was a morning last week. I stepped outside before turning on my phone. The air was cool and a little humid, the street still empty. And for maybe 3 minutes, I just stood there, breathing. The funny thing is that pause ended up setting the mood for my whole day. I felt calmer, a little more patient with everyone I dealt with. It's interesting because usually I jump right into my notifications and never get that peaceful start. There's another example that really made me think. Have you ever tried mindful walking? It's exactly what it sounds like. Walking, but noticing every step, the ground, the movement of your arms, the air on your skin. It's not exercise, really. It's a way of bringing yourself back into the moment. I tried it once without music, without any distractions, and suddenly I realized how much stress I usually carry just getting from one place to another. It surprises me how often slowing down actually helps with the big things, not just the small. I read that in Japan there's a custom called Ichigo Ichi-e, which means one time, one meeting. The idea is that every moment is unique, and if you don't pay attention, you miss it forever. People practice this during tea ceremonies, but I think it's useful for ordinary life too, like actually listening to a friend instead of letting your mind wander, or tasting your food instead of just eating while watching TV. This all makes me realize slowing down doesn't mean you have to do less or be less ambitious. There's actual research showing that people who intentionally pause during their workday are more creative, make fewer mistakes, and even get more done when they're active. That's counterintuitive, right? But think about it. When you step away from a problem, your mind relaxes and sometimes the solution just pops into your head. I keep coming back to this idea when things feel overwhelming. I remember a friend told me about her experience in Italy. She was always in a rush back home, but on her trip, everyone around her seemed to move at a much slower pace, enjoying their coffee, sitting with friends, walking slowly in the evenings. At first it drove her crazy, but after a few days she realized she felt lighter, less anxious. She brought that habit back and told me she schedules 10 extra minutes between every meeting, just so she's never running from place to place. Her work didn't suffer. In fact, she said it improved. What strikes me most about all this is how small moments get lost when we speed through everything. The smell of rain, the changes in light during sunset, the quick smile from a neighbor. These things make up a good day, but they slip through when your mind's always in the future. It's not just about happiness either. Our brains really need downtime to process, to recover, to generate ideas. There's a reason why so many breakthroughs happen when people are out for a walk, or even in the shower. The quiet, the pause, is where thoughts connect in new ways. Now, I'm not saying you should throw out your calendar or ignore your responsibilities. What I've learned, and what I keep trying to remind myself, is that just one or two small, slow moments in your day can change how everything else feels. Maybe it's drinking your coffee without checking your phone. Maybe it's looking out the window while the kettle boils. It sounds basic, but these pauses help bring you back to the present, and, weirdly, make the rest of the day feel less rushed. One more thing that I find so interesting: slowness connects people. I notice when I'm really present with someone, the conversation goes deeper, there's more laughter, more honesty. But if I'm checking my watch, thinking about my to-do list, the moment slips away. I'm starting to see a pattern. Life isn't about constantly getting to the next thing. It's about remembering to notice what's already here. That's why so many traditions, yoga, mindfulness, even ordinary prayer, always make space for stillness, for being in the current moment. Let me get this straight. Pausing isn't giving up on action, it's about making space for it. When you slow down, everything else feels more intentional, more satisfying. Maybe it's letting yourself get bored for a few minutes, letting your mind wander. That's when the oddest, most creative ideas can show up. So if you catch yourself rushing today or feeling a bit disconnected, try taking a short pause. Breathe deeper. Notice one thing about your surroundings. It might surprise you what you notice or how you feel. As we wind down today, I hope this simple idea gives you something to try, even for just a few minutes here and there. Slowing down isn't about missing out. It's about seeing the richness, the texture, and the quiet beauty in moments you already have. Thank you for spending these minutes with me. I hope you step back into your life with a bit more calm, a bit more awareness, and maybe a sense of how powerful those little pauses can be.